All right, everybody, the Shock Pod is alive.
It's alive! Enter the Shock Pod at your own risk.
Presented by Horror Shock Media. This is a horror punk and shock rock podcast, hosted by Reverend Chad Wells.
We're here for episode 4 of the Shock Pod podcast. I can't believe I've made it this far, my ADHD being what it is. I am joined today by a cast of characters to promote an upcoming show and to talk about some of the bands on the Horror Shock label and all things horror, punk, and whatever. We even have a football aficionado and specialist here to tell us what we should be voting on those fucking apps. I said fuck already, so this is going to get demonetized on YouTube already. So you guys feel free to say whatever you want. And I'm going to go around and kind of lightly introduce everybody. Representing my gang, the Creepy Crawlers, I'm here with my sister from another Mr. Scarika. Say hello.
Hello, friends.
What's up?
Welcome.
Scarika has recently broken her foot and is on pain medicine. So if she's a little extra Stevie Nicks or Nancy Spungen, that's why.
Yep.
And then we've got representing our Troy compatriots also on our label, the gentlemen of Bat Thorn. We got Breny, Bones, and Pete. You guys each individually say hello.
What's up, man?
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
So guys,
That's
we've played some shows together. I don't know how many shows we played together, but we've played some shows together. You guys sort of really gave us our first show, right? The first Halloween Phreakout that we played, which was last year, which was number 8. That was way too many numbers. That was our first show, right? Am I remembering that correctly, Scarika?
Yeah, it was. It was a dope show.
You guys are partially responsible for the beast that we've come to be, and I being one of the label managers at Horror Shock Records have returned the favor by giving you guys the super big giant recording contract at Horror Shock. Tell us, Bones, a little bit about what's going on with the band right now and what your plans are for world domination.
Well, I'm working on a freeze ray right now, so I can go and freeze all of the world's monuments, like the Eiffel Tower, because that's something evil scientists do. But as for the band, we're just we're playing out these shows. Then when October's over, we're gonna start writing and recording. Hopefully, get some shit.
Hell yeah, Brendan.
Brendan.
What's so Bat Thorn kind of started as a, I don't want to call it a joke project, but it was sort of just a little kind of thing that wasn't supposed to grow into a full band. Am I right about that?
Yeah, it was kind of me and Bones have been playing in bands for a while, and we were kind of in between everything. He quit last and was, I think, Bum Fights, and he quit that. So me and our first drummer for Bat Thorn, Jason, we were just jamming around, playing music. Wrote a couple songs, and then Bones decided he wanted to come back, so we let him back in and did a couple lineup changes, and now we got what we got now.
And you guys are playing a bunch of shows for a band that went from just being a sort of like, you know, bunch of buddies kind of kicking around an idea. Like, you guys are legitimately, like, you just did the Cancer Slug show with us. You're getting ready to do, was it Grave Robber at Blind Bob's soon?
Yeah.
What's what does that feel like? Does it feel like it's like happening the way it's supposed to? Does it feel like it's happening too fast? Do we need to slow it down for you? What's the story?
I'm just hanging on, just along for the ride. It was unreal to play for Cancer Slug. That's like one of my all-time like favorite bands. That was one of the bands that kind of got me into the shock rock kind of stuff. Just looking into more underground punk shit online and coming up. I think it was Cancer Slug's song, like Dead Children's Playground or something. And before punk, I was a big metalhead. So just seeing something like that with more of a rock and roll kind of punk sound with it, it was like, dude, that's awesome. So being able to open with them was fucking awesome.
Hell yeah, absolutely. And you touching on the sort of metal thing, you know, like, and I say this in every episode. So if you're playing the drinking game right now, you drink. But like, I'm an old guy and I've been doing this a long time. And there was a certain point in time where your punk rock band was not allowed to have guitar solos or chug riffs. You couldn't have any long haired fellas in the band, and vice versa. Metal guys wanted to have 4 monitors on stage, plus they want the drums mic'd, they want to have long hair. But now it seems like everything's crossing over. Stuff like Cancer Slug, and even the modern variant of the Misfits is pretty metal. Pete Cheney, you're the guy I want to throw this one to. Guar keeps coming up in my conversations, and Guar is a band that really epitomizes what horror punk is supposed to be. They build their own world. There's monsters. It's scary. They have a whole shtick, but like they don't get mentioned in horror punk circles. And I think that's because they've always kind of been so metal. They've had a lot of guitar solos and stuff like that. Where do you think the scene's at right now in regards to all of that stuff? Like being more accepting of lots of different styles and things, and like, where do bands like that fit into it?
Like Guar?
Yeah, well, you're the guy that like, you like Cancer Christ and Guar and bands that have shticks and gimmicks, and like
Christ.
Yeah. I think there's a little bit of a lag in the audio or something here. I think Pete's broken.
Is it working?
I'm gonna adjust Pete. Well, no,
so
like the question being like, so the show that we're getting ready to play, what's the date? What's the date of the Halloween Phreakout Volume 9?
October 19th.
And on that show, we've got a myriad of different kind of bands. Can you tell me a little bit about who all's on that bill and what kind of bands they are?
Well, we got a guy that's my friend James Fox hooked up with. He's a trap metal horrorcore artist. He's going to be opening the show. It's his first show ever. He's very, very new to the whole thing. Then, of course, Bat Thorn. Then the Franks. Franks play every year.
Greatest band of all time.
I'm having a hard time drawing blanks now.
Strawberry Love Joe.
Oh, yeah. Strawberry Love Joe.
Never Try.
And me and Jerry and Angelo and Mike Peter are doing that Misfits set.
So how did
There's Never Try.
Yeah, Never Try.
Oh yeah, try shit.
So it's a super stacked, varied bill. It's not all horror punk bands. There's everything from like old guy, like, how do you guys describe Strawberry Love Gel? Like, are they like a grunge? They're like a grunge, right?
THC.
Scarika, are you keeping up with all of this?
I am. I'm enjoying it. It's great.
Okay. Strawberry Love Gel's from like my time. They're old men like me, and they play like kind of metal tinged punk stuff that's real relative to like clutchy, stonery, grungy stuff, right? Is that essentially?
Yeah, very, very clutchy.
And then what's Never Try sound like? I haven't caught Never Try yet at my local discotheque.
It's got like definite punk vibes, but more of like a MTV-ish, like not pop punk, but and I don't know how to explain it.
Like happy
They're
punk.
really good.
Happy punk?
Happy punk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on
Happy
that
punk.
note, speaking of Bat Thorn being a horror band of evil geniuses that you guys are pretty damn happy sounding. You guys sound, is that a limitation in your musical knowledge, or is that
I can
a
only write
conscious
in major.
decision. You can only write in major.
Yeah.
You're an ambitron.
It's in the contract.
Yeah.
It's in the horror shock contract.
Well,
right?
the first band that I really got into was Blink-182. They got me then, like, so, and through them I got got into the real punk, all their influences. So that's definitely been a big part of my musical influence. So like all the riffs I write are like just 2000s and 90s pop punky. So anything I'm involved in kind of sounds like that. And Brendan's more the dark, spooky guy.
Well, it's a good mix. I like it. Everybody that sees you guys likes it. I like watching people that are like number one, not real super hip to punk rock, or people who are like way too hip to punk rock, if you know what I mean. Like get in a room with you guys and go like, all of these things are like they match, but they don't match, and this is just so much fun. Like this is, like that guy's wearing a mask, but they're also not trying to convince me that I'm in a haunted house or so. You know what I mean? Like you guys are approachable yet covered in blood and wearing fucking contact lenses. And
who wears a mask?
How do you get from being like a Blink-182 kid or whatever to being the guy covered in blood wearing a skull mask? Like where's that? So this goes to a question that I ask this goes to a question I'm asking in every episode, and I'm an old guy, so I call it the peanut butter and the chocolate moment. I don't know if you youngsters remember, but when Reese's cups were first invented, the commercials was like people were walking and a chocolate bar accidentally went into some peanut butter, and suddenly we got Reese's cups. Like horror rock, shock rock, horror punk, I feel like is a Reese's cup situation. It's like you're putting tastes together here to make something specific. Let's start with Scarika, because she's just watching us all blab like dudes. What's the peanut butter and the chocolate moment for you where you knew that scary stuff and rock and roll went together? Because for those that don't know, you and I were in Cricket Bows together. Cricket Bows was not a horror punk band by any means, but we definitely had an occult horror, like witchcraft element that's relative. What's the moment for you where you knew spooky shit and music went together good?
From like my earliest memories of being a kid, it was always the spooky soundtracks you'd put on. Being from Ohio, every time we went to Foy's, which is the local Halloween mega strip in a city, they would always sell those little cassettes that would have the music on it, and that was something that was just always integral and part of our like daily Halloween life, I guess. And being like having a musical background growing up, I was always in soundtracks for movies. That's just my specific thing, is I'm always watching movies. I grew up watching movies. And when I saw movies like Critters or like Trick or Treat or Night of the Demons, they would always have these really badass soundtracks that weren't really real musicians or bands playing, but that was kind of where that built for me, that importance of where it started to marry. Like there's a whole like element of horror, even like Nightmare on Elm Street, where they don't have necessarily a band, like some of those bands like soundtrack hits in there still were bangers, And then of course when I got older, it was the Misfits. That was as simple as, and I can relate to being a Blink-182 fan, because that was my shit too, because that's just, I was inundated. I didn't really have a choice at my age, but I loved them. And I went to the Warped Tour a whole lot, and I got to see the Misfits at the fucking Warped Tour, and that was where that was my peanut butter smashed into the chocolate car crash Mary.
Yeah, you're
That's
like,
when
this
that
is
happened.
this is a horror theatrical movie thing,
I
but
was
it's
in,
also a
like,
rock band.
so being in Creepy Crawlers is more in my wheelhouse now than Cricket Bows was. I had to really, find that part of it, which is still a part of it. There was still a witchcrafty, like, you said Stevie Nicks thing earlier, and that's true. But now I'm like, yes, theatrical, let's go. So this is great.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, one of us is making a really serious echo, and I don't know who it is, but if anybody that's got the sound coming through a speaker in the room with you, if you can turn it down just enough so that you can still kind of hear us. But like one of us is making an echo that's fucking hilarious. I turned mine down. So if I start talking even more like an old man like this, it's because I've got my volume turned down. So how about you guys? Pete, what was the moment for you where you knew that horror stuff and music stuff went together? Did you just always kind of feel like they were there, or?
Yeah, I was raised with my sister a lot, and over there it was always Kiss, Alice Cooper. They had posters of like Wasp in their living room, next to the big TV that sits on the floor, So yeah,
That's awesome.
it's always been there. Like, and then I found like Guar on my own, and that was like 6th grade when I found Guar. So
What was
yeah, it's always
so I just did Pretty with the Lights Out, was just talking about 96 Beavis and Butthead. That's when they found Guar. Was it Beavis and Butthead? Was it something else? How did you get into Guar?
Metal Maniacs magazine.
Yes.
I saw a picture of Guar that was like this big, and I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, I was a fan of Guar before I even heard their music. I would buy Metal
100%.
Maniacs magazine just because they had pictures of Guar. And I remember my buddy Richard Rosen brought in Scum Dogs of the Universe, and I begged them to let me take it home and record it. And
That's awesome.
I can remember waiting for America Must Be Destroyed to come out. So yeah, Guar's been my niche with all that. I love gimmicky stuff. Like,
Yeah,
I saw Guar the first time on what's that movie? Empire Records, where they the kid trips out eating the brownie and he's watching a Guar video and he like gets eaten by the fucking monster. I was like, what is that? And why is that my new favorite band? Like, we're done.
Yep.
So that opened the door for me there.
Yeah, that's classic. Guar's fucking awesome. What about you guys? Bones, what's your peanut butter in the chocolate moment?
This is actually going to be a little ironic. I'm not a huge fan of the gimmicky stuff.
It's the guy who said the guy with the mask.
No, this is just my face.
Oh, right. Sorry.
It's just
It was an accident.
yeah, really. I wasn't playing music for a while, and I was just super depressed. And I know Brendan had started up some new stuff, so they needed a bass player, so I started jamming with him. And he was like, "I want you to wear a mask," and I was like, "All right." So that was the thing. But I mean, when it comes to like the philosophical of like the music and the horror and all that, I think it's just like a natural thing because they're both kind of outsider, people that are real into like the horror and all that. No, they're not necessarily normal people. In the harder music, the punk, the metal, they're not normal people. So I think it's just a natural, mend of those things.
Absolutely. What about you, Breny?
But mine was probably way back watching an old silent version of Nosferatu, and somebody put typo negative over top of it. And I thought that was cool. And then with the gimmicky shit, it was probably Slipknot, thinking that shit was dope as fuck at a young age.
So I was talking this in the last episode that I just did. I was talking about the fact that like we all get into it different ways. So that particular episode, Pumpkin Guts was on, and Pumpkin Guts, Olive is 31, and then Pretty with the Lights Out, Nate is 41, and then I'm about to be 51. So we're exactly this like 10 years, 10 years, 10 years, whatever. And like I'm from the time where the Misfits like had just broken up. They were essentially like a current band when I got into them. And then everybody kind of got into things in different ways, or like Kiss is my entrance point or whatever. But I was like saying that in the future, and it's not in the future, it's obviously right now, kids that grew up seeing their parents or their aunts and uncles or their older brother looking at Slipknot or Mushroom Head or whatever are going to go and go like, oh, well, this music should be dark and there should be fire and fake blood and whatever. And it's weird that it ends up leading everybody ends up getting to the Misfits at some point and going like, oh, well, they did it the most kind of in this, way or whatever.
Working it backwards now.
yeah. Like it's kind of weird. Well, and like Pumpkin Guts Olive was saying that like their first Misfits, they were at like a Kmart or something or a Walmart and they bought the 1950s Misfits Jerry only thing. That's what they thought the Misfits was just like Mad Monster Party Misfits. And same thing with Pretty with the Lights Out. Famous Monsters was his first Misfits interaction. And like it's like completely different approaches and places, but like that band keeps being the band by which to judge all other bands of the realm, whether you actually like them as people or really dig their music or which era of music you like, that band/brand is like the defining thing of what we do, which is kind of funny because now like I'm working on the Shockwaves 2 comp and it's aside from you guys and maybe one or two other things, it's an extremely metal comp. Like there's a lot of guitar solos, there's a lot of 80s shock rock worship going on. Spellgrinder is like sounds like Alice Cooper and Faster Pussycat had a baby or something. Like Slaughter Party is kind of like real punk based but like very metal. Like the whole thing is really metal. And then you guys come from a more what almost at first listen sounds like a traditional horror punk approach, which is a poppy punk Ramones-esque bass with a Elvis-y Monster Party-ish vocal. But like when I listen to it, I hear stuff that my old ass would be embarrassed of, like Good Charlotte and Blink-182 in there. But you guys, you're like, oh yeah, we hit it then. We did it because that's what we listened to and that's what influenced it. Like, it's neat to me that we can all like, you know what I mean? Like be into the same things, but not at all, but it still all works together. The scene is not, when I was in the Jackalopes, every single show that I played, everybody looked like the Frisch's Big Boy. Like we all had the same hair and the same sideburns and the same everything, the same tattoos. Like, oh, you have flames tattooed on your arm. You're of this age. You know what I mean? And now the scene is like, because, thanks internet, whatever, like the scene allows people to do this thing where we all fall under an umbrella, but we're all vastly different. You guys think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
It's great.
It's great.
I think it's great.
Started out
Thanks for good music writing.
Yeah.
You have like, if I need to put it into like a weird analogy, it would be like those like escape rooms, like the only way you're going to get out of that escape room is if you have a bunch of different people who think differently and like different stuff and are influenced by different things. And then you are looking at things at totally different perspectives rather than, so sorry, it had to be hand visuals there. But I think writing music is the same fucking way, like we get together and maybe like I would have never thought to put a tune in such an odd key signature or something, and you would do that 100% and it sounds amazing because you thought of it and I didn't,
Right.
Something
that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Go ahead, Bones.
Something I came to realize, like meeting more musicians when I was younger, playing music, compared to when I was in high school, just like listening, is fans of music like that don't play music. Not a lot of times, but you get people that, though they're so elitist almost, like, oh, I won't listen to anything that's not punk or whatever. You get people like that.
And whatnot.
Yeah, and they're not, they won't go out of their comfort zone when it comes to music. But then you start meeting musicians, and it's like, there's people, musicians listen to everything. Like, I'm listening to like Etta James at work and stuff. I'll listen to the Beatles and all this stuff, and it's like, it's you got to appreciate the music for what it is and not just put yourself in a box. Oh, I'm just going to listen to this one thing.
I agree 100%. And I've always tried to mix a lot of different stuff into my music, but playing devil's advocate, like as a 15-year-old, when I heard Minor Threat, I went, somebody tell me more stuff that sounds like this.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And if you gave me the Dead Kennedys, like, I'm like, that's cool, but I'm mad at you now because it doesn't sound like this. Like I wanted like, no, when I say Minor Threat, like I want bald-headed straight edge dudes yelling over, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I want it specific. Like I'll go down a rabbit hole, and and non-punk related, like anything that came out in 1971 that has a brown or white album cover for some reason is fantastic. You know what I mean? Like there's a specific type of, like, I get into weird things, like a band like Guar, or like, Cheney's got the suicidal hat on, band that starts out with punk roots and then suddenly they learn to play, the production gets better, there's guitar solos now, and they lose fans or they gain new, maybe they gain new fans, but and the way that we do it now is awesome, but like we also, I think, all disappear faster now because there's so much shit happening all at once that, like, during the Jackalopes times, being that we all had the same exact look, it was like we would appeal to every single other person that liked that. Like, I'm not a car guy or a motorcycle guy, but we appealed to those people. So like that was good for us to like aim at that. Like, we're going to put a car on the record or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, oh, they like the 50s stuff. Let's give them more 50s stuff. And like that was almost like, it was all stuff we liked, but it was almost like trying to like pander to the audience's like codification. And now there's no codification, or the codification super like pizza hardcore, or like, like what the fuck? Like, I'm trying to explain to people that there are bands now that only do songs about like dogs. I'm a death metal band and I do songs about dogs, or we're a death metal band and we do songs
dogcore, yeah.
Dude, wait, what did you show me? There was something that you took. Crabcore.
Crabcore, that's a whole thing. That's almost gone now. Like, that's almost over. Like, that crabcore, that's what I'm saying. It's come and gone. Crabcore.
Punk rock lives forever, though.
We should bring it back.
I've been trying to, I'm doing the horse stance exercises all day so that I can crabcore walk. I'm going to fucking bring it back for old dudes. Fucking crab.
Tom knows how to do the poop squat. Tom has been known to poop squat. Yeah, he can do it.
We call this one the GG Allen.
Bat Thorn's bringing it back.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
He does a little dance called the GG Allen X-Lax Shuffle.
Just like that, Bones is back in.
Because it's chocolate.
We were talking a couple minutes ago about like first hearing the Misfits, and I actually have a funny story about my first exposure to the Misfits.
Yes, do tell.
So when I first got in, like the first proper punk band I got into was the Descendants, because they were like big influences of Blink-182. So I listened to them and I fell in love. So I started like looking at all these other bands around their time. And so I started like downloading a bunch of stuff, and I downloaded the NoFX album, and it had a cover of Last Caress on it. And I listened to it for months and didn't realize it was a cover. And then it like popped up on YouTube, Last Caress the Misfits. And I clicked on it, and then I realized, oh, I'm a fucking idiot.
That's hilarious.
That was my first time hearing the Misfits.
Honestly, Last Caress is probably the song that made me a super Misfits fan, and it was because of Metallica's cover of it. Like I knew about the Misfits, but I did not listen to the Misfits prior to Garage Days Revisited coming out, and they covered that song, and I was like, okay, because I knew that was all covers, but I had to go out and get like whatever band that was. Like I got to get all of their shit. Like it was thanks Metallica. It was totally a Metallica cover. That's awesome. No FX saves the day. Not the band saves the day, but literally. So, what the hell else were we going to talk about, gang? So the show, that's a Halloween, the Phreakout. Let's talk about the Phreakout. Let's get back to promoting and selling things, gentlemen. Halloween Phreakout. It's 9 years in now. Is that the case?
Yeah, it's the 9th one.
And
Wow.
how does this tradition? This is a Troy tradition. T. Roy, HC. How does this get started? Who starts it, and why is it still going?
Me and Dave Church started it some 9 years ago. Just wanted to have a Halloween party. When I was in Menace to Sobriety, we did a Halloween show and we called it Halloween. And when I got with the Franks, that really wasn't, we all smoke, but it wasn't a Menace to Sobriety thing. So we wanted to do a Halloween show. We threw out that Phreakout name. It sounded cool. And then I think the first 3 or 4, and then Dave took over for a while and just ran it. I think the Franks were just him for a minute, and then he kept it going. And then I think we came back in at 7, and we did 7, 8 with you guys, and now here we are with 9.
And the theme for this one, before going back to the history, the theme for this one is a Mars Attacks theme, right?
Yeah.
So you do not have to come dressed for Halloween, but it is preferred. We like it when you come dressed for Halloween. And if you want to be on brand, on theme, you come with a alien invasion theme that night. And are there things like costume contests and whatnot, Mr. Pete Cheney?
Of course, yes. We always do at least the costume contest. Dave always wants to do raffles, but we never buy raffle tickets. So yeah. But yeah, there's definitely a costume contest. I got some other stupid things that I'd like to do. I sent it in the Bat Thorn chant, that little hot dog swinging contest. You guys get that?
I've seen
I've
it.
seen the ring one, yeah.
Yeah.
What is this? Is like the biker thing where like the person has to catch the swinging hot dog in their mouth or something?
Yes.
I'd be great at that.
I like it. That makes sense for us where we come from.
I practice that
Hot
every
dog.
Friday night.
Hot dog into the hopper kind of a vibe. So the history of the Phreakout, what are some of the bands, what the long lineage and tradition that this is? What are some of the bands that have played the Phreakout? I know first on my lips is Legbone. Legbone has played the Phreakout.
Yeah, Legbone has
Legends.
Boondah, if you
Yeah.
people remember Boondah. They did it. Of course, the Franks play every year. I'm trying to look and see if I got flyers around, but
Throttle
looking
ever
around
do it?
there,
I'm
too.
thinking of Troy bands. Did Throttle ever do it?
Yes, Throttle's on number 6. I got that flyer. Throttle played that one. Or they were
Legends, once
supposed to,
again.
at least.
no, Throttle
Cool.
burned it. That's when we first brought Strawberry Love Gel in.
That's where our first
They
band,
tagged out.
me and Brendan's first band, the Brain Dead Slavs, that was our first show, was the Phreakout.
That's awesome.
I mean, the Sven's first show was it?
Yeah.
Phreakout also.
Yeah, we
Same
had
year, I think. As the
Yeah,
Slavs
same
one.
first show.
I'm really excited about it. You really were great because we had some prop situations that we made a quick mess on the scene. Pete Cheney came with the mop and bucket after us, which was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, we
We-
make a mess from time to time.
ceiling.
We always hustle to try and clean it up real fast.
We left confetti in the ceiling, so we'll see if it's still there.
Nice.
We'll talk about that. We want to do a full blood show, Pete, but we don't know a place where we can do the kind of, we want to do a Guar level blood show, like where you're just getting vomited on by blood the entire time we're playing. and we're trying to find the right place that has the right kind of drainage for that. So
What's in that barn behind your tattoo shop?
Possums?
nothing I have access to currently.
Oh.
That would be a good spot though. Something like that. A barn, preferably full of I would do it in a place we have a song about pigs on our new album that's getting ready to come out. We could do that in a pig barn and do the full blood thing. That would be a hell of a mosh pit. But anyway, we're gonna have a good time. The Halloween Freakout's always a blast. It's a hometown kind of affair. Is that a American Legion or is that
Yeah, Legion, yeah.
Yeah, it's the American Legion in Troy. Troy, for those of you who are not hip, there's not much to do north of Dayton. And Troy, because of that, has had a history of like some of the best bands. I'll say Troy, Piqua, Sydney, those whole areas have had like some of the best, tightest, most fun bands that like to play inebriated, bands that like to get high, bands that like to ride skateboards and run around in the dark cornfields of their areas. And because of that, the music up there is fantastic. Strawberry Love Gel, I played my first band, Carcass on the Highway, played with those guys like in 92 or 93, I believe. And they were like the kings of what we called the Rebos scene back then. There was like one place where we all played that was all ages, and that place ran ads on the radio and stuff, and Strawberry Love Gel was always a big draw on those radio ads. So it's rad to see those guys still laying it down. And Never Try, kind of a new band. Bat Thorn, not a new band, but relatively a new energy in you guys. You guys are really firing on all cylinders. Your set is killer right now, and like so much fun. We can't wait to do it, man. I think we're getting, where are we at? We're like 2:30 right now. Oh, we're still early in this thing. I've got some rapid fire questions that I'm going to bring up here in a little bit. Is there anything coming up you guys want to promote other than that show? This video is going to come out, I think, the week prior to the Phreakout. So anything before the Phreakout won't really make it on here. But you guys got anything coming up after the Phreakout that you want to promote?
No,
That's going to be our downtime for writing.
Yeah,
Be working on a new album coming out.
I can't wait to get started on that. You guys, the song that I recorded with you guys here in this very room partially sounds so good. It's going to be on the new Shockwaves Volume 2 that is going to be out in time for the Halloween Freakout. So you guys will have copies of that in hand. That song is so infectious and fun. Everybody I know that has listened to it here at the tattoo shop loves it. And it was really cool. My daughter, who's in the Creepy Crawlers with us, PJ, she was like, it was so cool when Bat Thorn played that song that I had only ever heard them recording in the shop. And then I saw the band play it live, and it was like, it was dead on. Like it sounded the same. So
I almost passed out at the end of that.
Is that right?
Yeah.
What from? Just from
The woes are too
vocalizing?
The woes are a lot at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry about
cool,
that.
Though. Oh, that's all right.
That's that production value, man.
Yeah.
No, man, it sounds rad.
Now
And
you gotta get it.
you guys sound awesome. I can't wait to do cool stuff with you guys in the label. We need to get into making videos. You guys are not we're not capitalizing on the visual image that you guys have. And I think
we've got so many ideas. We want to do a comic book.
oh, that's a good idea.
We have so many dumb ideas we want to do. We wrote a movie.
The Creepy Crawlers are talking about doing a monkey
We
style
wrote an
TV
entire
show.
movie.
You guys need to be our neighbors in our monkey style TV show that we're gonna do
Fuck yeah.
for sure.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I think it's a good idea. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the future, when we have a viewing audience, because currently, well, by the time this comes out, maybe we will, but currently about 14 people are listening to the every episode. So when we have a viewing audience, those of you in the viewing audience, will send us some questions to ask our future guests. In the meantime, we are sourcing questions from our good friend ChatGPT 4.0. And so ChatGPT, our good pal, has prepared some questions for you that are the burning hot questions that the horror scene just wants to know. So I'm going to kind of go around the loop and ask each of you these questions.
I don't trust artificial intelligence.
We'll start with Miss Scarika.
Dude.
If your music could haunt one location forever, where would it be and why?
A crazy question.
That's a creepy ass question, man.
Chat GPT, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. My music would haunt an abandoned Blockbuster
It's a good answer.
Hell yeah.
till the end of time.
That's pretty good.
120 years on Earth.
There's like one copy of Night of the Demons in there, and you pick it up, and it's like, let's watch a movie. All right, Breny, what's your answer?
A retirement home.
A
I just feel
retirement
like
home?
everyone piss them all off.
It kind of does. That's where I work.
Oh, that's hilarious. Have you ever played Bat Thorn for the elderly folks at your retirement home?
No.
Do they know you play in a rock and roll band and wear a funny mask?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. They don't let me talk to the old people. I just cook.
Oh, well, that's
But-
cool.
The employees do.
Well, that's all right.
Keep them away from the patients.
Yeah.
Where would Bones, where would you want your music to haunt?
Taco Bell.
Yes.
It's my
Run to the
favorite place in
border.
the world.
It's my happy place.
Yeah. Crunchwrap
Pete-
Supreme is
Pete
the greatest
Cheney, what do you
culinary.
And that is an odd question. It'd have to be a restaurant or something, like a McDonald's.
Okay.
We're just fat guys.
Yeah.
You guys are, this is one of those like, I just want the first thing that comes to your mind, and it's just like Taco Bell.
It's always on my mind.
Burger King.
Retirement home.
Dude, when I proposed to my wife in a Burger King because at the age I think I was only 18 or something, but like at the age I was, I assumed that Burger King had always been there and it would always be there. So it would be somewhere we'd be able to come back to in 30 years and
cute
like
then.
sit in that same booth. It was like 5 years after I proposed to her, they tore down that Burger King.
Boo.
So sad. So sad. There's so many things wrong with the world, but I think one of the first things we need to take care of is the missing Burger Kings. And
Yeah, paving paradise and putting up parking lots.
that's right.
Oh, jeez.
All right. So let's see. Pete, which horror character do you think would secretly be a fan of your band, and what track would be their favorite?
Not a horror character, but I don't know. I think Ted Bundy would like Bat Thorn.
Yeah. What would Ted Bundy's favorite Bat Thorn song be? Get in the
Probably
Volkswagen, we're going
Ophelia.
strangling.
Yeah. He probably likes some Ophelia.
Okay. What do you think, Bones? Which horror character do you think would secretly be a fan of your band, and what track would be their fave?
That's a hard question. I don't know that many horror characters.
Okay, what historic figure would be a fan of Bat Thorn? Doesn't have to be horror. Could be George Washington. Or Atrocities of War kind of a character, like a Chairman Mao might be down with the Thorn.
No, skip me. We'll come back to me. I
Okay,
gotta think.
Brendan, what do you got?
Bub from Day of the Dead, and he's gonna like Zombie Crawl.
All right. See how that
That's a
works,
good one.
guys? See how that goes?
I had
Scarika,
time to
what do you
think
think?
about
It'd be Linnea Quigley. and
Yeah.
she would like Night of the Demons.
That one's a good one. That's a good one.
It's an obvious one, but
I will go with a similar vibe, and I will say Sissy Spacek would fucking love Carrie somehow.
hey, we know that William Catt loves Carrie.
Yeah, and William Catt was freaking in Carrie. And so we win. William
did.
Catt was the greatest American hero, guys. I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember this, but there was a fantastic television show in the 1980s that featured one Mr. William Catt from the film House and the film Carrie, where he played a curly-haired, moppy high school teacher who taught Mr. Michael Pare, who was the Canadian Matt Dillon at the time. And he was dropped a suit that gave him special powers like a Superman, but he did not have the book that told him how to work the suit. And so a CIA agent played by the dude who was on that Bill Cosby show where they were detectives together. That guy helps him try to figure out how to work the suit and fight crime together. And it had the greatest intro of all television shows of the 1980s. It goes like this. Are you ready? Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. Never thought I could be so free. That's just a taste. You guys should really check out The Greatest American Hero if you can, but just know that the versions that are streaming do not have the original 1980s music. They have terrible replaced music from probably from AI. So try to find the OG episodes if you can. For those of you listening,
Crazy monologue.
you like how I can just keep talking and never stop
But
talking?
I told
Yeah,
William Catt
that's amazing.
personally how much you love him.
Yeah, I can't meet people, guys. I don't like to meet people like that. Like we were one aisle behind him at Horror Hound. And like I sent the whole band, like you guys can just tell him I like him, but like I'm not going over there. I can't. Lars, everybody in the band met Lars from Rancid. Like I wouldn't speak to Lars. Like I was like, no, I can't. I don't want to speak to Lars. It makes me nervous.
That'd be weird.
I've met Danzig a couple times. It makes me feel like I have to pee. I don't need to meet anybody else. All right, so going along the Chat GPT questions here. We'll start with you, Scarika, and work backwards. If you had to design a horror-themed music festival and your band was co-headlining it with another great band, Dead or Alive, who would that band be that would headline this? Jesus Christ. I'll read the way they wrote it. I was trying to do my own thing because, I was trying to make it human and not
Read it like a
ChatGPT,
robot.
But if you had to design a horror-themed music festival, what's the first band, Dead or Alive, that you'd book to headline alongside of you?
Dead or Alive?
The band Dead or Alive?
Okay, no.
You spin me right round.
I'm gonna go with we would resurrect not one but two.
Okay.
And it would be a one-time performance of Michael Jackson's Thriller featuring Vincent Price.
Ooh.
I said what I said.
Well, that's kind of great. So you'd bring Michael back.
Yep.
To co-headline, but Vincent Price would be a part of the package. That would be the sweetener. Like if it's not enough that we've got Michael Jackson, we've got Vincent Price.
Right.
Live.
He goes full
there.
wolf suit,
That's pretty great. Brendan, they're making a music festival with Bat Thorn as the co-headliner. Who's going to co-headline that festival?
You guys.
Hey!
Us baby all the way, dude.
Great.
Yay, go team. What about you, Bones?
I've been on a kick lately of some older stuff. I'm gonna say Screamin' Jay Hawkins.
Ooh,
all right.
Nice. Bat Thorn, Screamin' Jay. Creepy
pay for that
Crawlers
show.
opening for that for sure. Pete Cheney.
I'd have to say Guar. The epitome
yeah.
of everything horror.
I'd pay for
Horror
that show
music.
too.
Absolutely. All right, Pete. Imagine a horror director asks you, Bat Thorn, to score their next film. Which director would you want to work with, and what kind of vibe would you bring to the soundtrack?
Lloyd Kaufman, definitely. And just keep it gritty and punk, because that's what Trauma is.
You guys are definitely a trauma-friendly band. Bones, what do you think?
So that's like the answer, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
Uh,
got all trauma. We're
I'm
all
gonna-
trauma. What do you think, Scarika? What director would you want
I was
to
not
have
gonna say
Creepy
trauma.
Crawlers score their soundtrack?
I'd call up my good buddy Kevin Tenney, and I would ask to work with his brother, who I think's name's Michael. And
what are they famous for?
okay, oh yeah, sorry. If in case you didn't know, he directed Witchboard with
Tawny
Tawny
Katane.
Katane, right? He also directed Night of the Demons and a few other little things, but his brother did the score for those music for the movies. Sorry, I'm high. And I just like resonated with that being like the quintessential like 80s soundtrack that goes with horror movies for me.
It's like it's great, but it's also bad, but it's just bad enough that it's like kitschy now, but it's like actually not bad. You can like totally
Yeah,
it's
there's a
good
few
shit.
hits in those like
There's
movies where
there's stuff from the same there's
there's
stuff from
not-
the same era that's using the same synthesizers that does not sound as good as that stuff.
right. Thank you.
Yeah,
That's what I was saying.
absolutely. For me, I'm asking these questions and I'm not answering them. I'm trying to think of who I would do. A director. Oh, Jim Van Beber from right here in Dayton, Ohio, the director of Charlie's Family, My Sweet Satan, Deadbeat at Dawn, and The Last Days of John Martin. We actually do a song on our last album that samples from his My Sweet Satan film. And so we would love to work with Jim Van Beber, even if he is a canceled problematic director, because directors, that happens sometimes.
I
Okay.
have an answer that's not trauma.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What is it?
I would choose guitar player for the band The Lucid, Drew Fortier, and his upcoming project Bunker Heights that me and Breny may make an appearance in.
What is that? I don't know. You just said a bunch of stuff. I have no idea what any of that is.
There's
That'd be a movie, man.
What is
Yeah,
Lucid?
it's a band The Lucid. He's a guitar player for it, and he's making a movie called Bunker Heights right now, and we may be in it. So we want to do the soundtrack for that.
Well, that sounds like you should. You
Yeah.
absolutely should.
The natural choice.
Yeah.
I think so. On the label front, Horror Shock, our co-label mate and whatever the hell you call it, 84 Tapes, is doing a bunch of soundtrack stuff for a movie I think called Piglet. That's like a Winnie the Pooh Piglet movie.
Oh,
It's
I
gonna
think
be
I
pretty
saw
cool.
something about that.
Yeah, it's gonna be rad. And I think Horror Shock's gonna do like we're gonna do like a limited soundtrack kind of thing. So I'll keep you guys in the loop on that. Okay, going backwards again. Scarika, if your band could communicate with the spirit world, which we obviously can, which legendary musician would you invite to collaborate on a track, and what would the song be about? So obviously a dead musician. Who
Prince.
would you want to collaborate with? Prince?
Easy answer. Prince.
I like it. For the Creepy Crawlers, I think that's a bold move.
Yeah.
I would be afraid that he'd take us into bat dance territory real
Don't
fast.
care. If Prince says we bat dance, then we bat dance.
I'll go with that. I mean, I am in a purple room right now, so I'll go with that. What about you, Brendan? What dead musician?
Take Jake's old answer, Screaming Jay Hawkins.
Screaming Jay? How many
Yeah.
have you guys seen the
It's gotta be
stories about
dead,
how
right?
many children he has? There's a yearly
No.
family reunion. It's like the Screamin' Jay Hawkins, the children of Screamin' Jay Hawkins family reunion. It happens every year. And there's seriously like 40 or 60 kids that are like proven paternity
I'm going next.
Screamin' Jay's road babies. And they have a family reunion.
Road babe.
I think that's fantastic.
Good for them.
So Screamin' Jay, is that your answer too, Bones? Who would you bring back?
I think I'm gonna bring back Bob Dylan.
Bobby D with Bat Thorn?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't he still alive?
Is he though?
Hey, when does this air? We don't know yet.
Bob is dead. Bones says Bob is dead. That's a t-shirt. Pete Cheney.
He's gonna die the day you drop this.
I know, dude. That's gonna be so rad. Who would you bring back from the grave? I have a guess.
Dave Brocky.
Okay, so I should have gotten on whatever betting app that Bones is on and bet on that one because I would have won that one for
Which
sure.
one?
So before we sign off here, Bones, can you educate us on what it takes to be a self-made millionaire like you by betting on foosball on the interwebs? Holy shit, Erica died.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. You got to know nothing about what you're betting on.
Okay.
It's all a crapshoot, really.
Okay.
You just pick low odds, build a bunch of stuff together until it's big odds, and hope it hits.
I love the sound of that. I think you're my daddy now, and you're going to take care of me because I don't know what that means.
Yeah, neither
You
do
sound
I.
like you know about finances to me.
I
You sound like, you know.
I had to set a limit because I would just put too much money on.
He has a
Now,
problem.
did you get your cough syrup situation sorted out?
I'm 2 days clean.
2 days clean? Are
Yep.
you still investing in the scissor
A
on
little
the
bit.
stock market?
Yeah, of course. It's never gonna die. It's there's people like
I'm
me all over
excited
the
now
world.
that there's Z-Quil. We can just skip the fact that we need to even be sick and we just want to go CP.
Yeah. Drink up 2
If I
bottles of
was
that shit.
15 again, I would be buying Sierra Mist and scissor Z-Quil and just rocking that shit every day.
Oh yeah.
Kids don't do drugs.
Yeah.
All right, guys. It has been a fantastic episode. I love every one of you guys. I'm super stoked about the upcoming show. Super stoked about the future of Bat Thorn and everything that you guys do because you guys are all quality individuals, and I thoroughly enjoy you as young men and as dinner guests as often as possible. Obviously, wine, cheese, all of those sort of things. We'll keep doing it. Keep on rocking, doot, just like what's his name says. You guys, thanks for watching the Shock Pod. This was episode 4. Stick around for episode 5 in 2 weeks. And I'm going to stop the recording now in 5. You guys got anything to say? Anybody? One last thing? No?
Nope.
Okay,
Just thanks for having us, man.
Yeah. Thanks for having
Dear
us.
bartenders.
good.
Check us out on
Yeah.
Facebook, I guess, or Instagram, whatever the kids use these days.
We'll see you at Phreakout.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. All right, guys.
All right.
Thanks. Peace
Yes,
out.
sir.
It's alive! Enter the shock pod at your own risk.
Presented by Horror Shock Media. This is a horror punk and shock rock podcast hosted by Reverend Chad Wells.